drive off now by telling you where the toilets are, because that's just one of the most important things of the day. My name's Jennifer, and my job description today is to make Yvonne happy. That's all my job description was for today, to make her happy and to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. If I could ask for all the volunteers, if we could round up all the volunteers and if they could make their way to this room, if we can, the ones that are not in here, if you can round them up, please, and tell them that I'd like them in here. Okay, so let's start off with fire exits. We're not expecting the fire alarm to sound. If the fire alarm sounds, don't look for me, because I'm gone. I'm the one that's running from the building like my name's Usain Bolt. If the fire alarm sounds, I think the best place for us to meet, these are fire exits here, and the best place for us to meet would be in this car park. So that will be our fire point if the fire alarm sounds and we do need to exit the building. So that will be to everyone's left. Secondly, please keep your belongings with you, and if I can ask you to indulge me at this precise moment, this second, please take your phones out of your bag now. I want to see everybody reaching into their bag. Take your phones out of your bag, please, and switch it to silent or turn it off. Because I've come to realize that some people have got some really interesting ringtones. I was out recently, just minding my own business, and this really sophisticated guy, his ringtone went like this: Sim Simma, who got it? So we don't want to expose the interesting ringtones, and if you could switch your phones off, please. Where are my volunteers at? Wave at me. Every single person who is waving at you has volunteered their time and their energy and their effort to serve you today. Thank you. And we are on hand for whatever you need. We will be serving you your teas and your coffees and your cake. No, you're not getting any teas. You're getting teas, I'm getting cakes. They'll be serving you teas and coffees, etc., and whatever else you need. On your table, you're going to notice that there are some coloured cards. Those are for those of you who wish to have herbal teas. At some point, you need to write your name on the back of the herbal tea that you want, with your table number. Other than that, you will just be served normal tea and coffee. Okay? So if you put that in the center of your table, everybody signs on the back of it with their table. We will collect those just before we're getting ready to serve the teas and coffees. As you leave this room and turn to your right, you will go through a set of double doors, and that's where the toilets are. Photos. We have a photographer here. The photographer here is only here to take pictures of me. So please don't get it twisted and start posing, because it's all about me today. The photographer is here to take pictures of the speakers, to take pictures of the tables, etc. And because of the nature of the event, we are aware that some people will not want to be photographed. If you do not wish to be photographed, please make the photographer, who's the photographer, can you wave at me? She'll be the person with the camera. Just make her aware that you do not want to be photographed, and she will respect your privacy. Okay, other than that, we will try and keep headshots to a minimum anyway. Also, to let you know that the event will be recorded. Audio, everybody started to get the brushes out when they audio recorded today, okay, and will be available online from the Daughter Arise website within the next few weeks. I can't think of anything else. I actually think that that's it. That's it. That's everything. The phones are off. We know where the fire exits are. We know who. That's it. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to... Okay, just to tell you a bit about the program. The program's really mixed today, and it's a mixture of people talking to you and interactive also. So we're going to have people who are performing, and we're also going to have people who are sharing their story. Okay, I am a survivor. Okay, I'll put that out there from now. I was sexually abused from the age, my earliest recollection is 2. until I was about 11, okay? And I'm putting that out there, and I'll share that, etc., because that's part of I think that's part of my healing process. But we're all at different points of our journey. And so some on our tables, they've not been through abuse, they're just here to get more information so that they can protect those around them and be more informed. And some of us have been through, and that's part of our story. You are under no obligation to share any part of your story today. You do not have to say anything if you just want to absorb. But if you do have questions, because we'll also have a panel, we'll give you the opportunity to write your questions down on a piece of paper, or I'll be walking around with a microphone and you can ask the panel's questions directly. But there is no obligation for anyone to disclose anything that they don't feel comfortable with. So it's going to be a mixture of people sharing and people speaking, and then a bit of interaction. So I'd like to welcome the first person, who, by the name of, I hope I pronounce this right. You keep lip syncing to me, and I'm a Jamaican. I don't read lips. Hand gestures, I can understand, but I can't read lips. By the way, this is Yvonne. This is Yvonne. Don't go anywhere. Don't go. So if Siobhan Johnson can get herself ready, because she'll be on next, and I'm going to hand over to Yvonne, and she's going to introduce herself and tell you a bit about today and what her hopes and her dreams are for today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I just want to thank you all personally for coming and sharing in this day with me. It's been quite a long journey to get to this day, and it's a subject that a lot of people are not really interested in. So I want to thank you all for coming and supporting this event. The reason I've put on this event is just because I want people to be informed about how sexual abuse affects lives. It's one of those things that is not talked about, but yet it's epidemic in this country. So, and worldwide as well. So basically, I just want to put this event on, help you to be more informed about sexual abuse. Maybe you know somebody who's been through it, maybe you've been through it yourself. But I hope you find this event informative, inspiring, and empowering. Thank you very much.
Okay, Siobhan. I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. She's saying no. Can I just tell you about me and names? Anybody here don't put your hand up, but I've decided that once you get to over 40, you can just about remember your own name. How do you pronounce your name? Shevin. Where are you from? Of course you are. Who was here last year? Okay. We decided last year that actually everyone is from Jamaica. Everyone. So you can go onto ancestry.com and you will dig far enough through your family tree and you're going to find a Jamaican there. Okay. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a survivor, and I've written a poem about my journey, so to speak. So it says, for years I painted a smile on my face, make up for the childhood lost. To grow up fast, to have your childhood taken, sometimes you can hear your own heart breaking. Some of you will never know the cost. I made jokes, forever laughing, forever smiling, but inside I was slowly dying. Having never known my dad, how did men act? Feeling like I always had to give love on my back. Don't judge me by my shady past. The boys or men I crept with in the dark. I never opened up, they never saw my heart. The 2 times I did, my heart was crushed. The 2 times I did, both guys just laughed. But you don't know me or what I've been through because it happens in my family. My mum, my aunts, and a few cousins too. We share the same pain, but we never talk. Forget about it, Chev, just move on. He stole my childhood and replaced it with sexual desires. The soul ties I made were never my intentions. But when you want to hurt yourself without the scars, so I once took pills with a bottle of Jack. I woke up angry my life wasn't taken. Don't judge me, by this time I was drinking and smoking. No self-worth and my walls built up high. Did I actually want to die? I walked out in front of a bus and all the driver did was cuss. So I started to think there's more to life than this. I want a home, a family, and my own kids. I was invited to church. It healed some of my hurt. Even though not completely gone, I know taking my life would have been wrong. I'm more hopeful, to say the least. I'm going to beat this beast. So my Bible I pick up when my days are long. My God gives me strength. He makes me strong. He plants songs in my heart to deliver me. Every day he is molding me. I heard someone say he's the potter and we are the clay. So now I give thanks for my life every day. My family, my friends, with my superhero Christ, my life will never be the same again. So I follow him and I encourage you to do the same. He can do for me what he's done. He can do for you what he's done for me. Come and join Christ's family. Open your hearts to receive and he will open your mind. Seek to search and you will find you're a special gem whose heart has a beat. Please get to know him so that the devil will be beaten. In Christ's army, we are soldiers in the battle. Though the war is not over, we have victory. These are my few words. This is my story. I hope I can encourage just one on my journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. And that, as we said, is part of someone's journey, which they've been able to express creatively. And we're going to move on to someone else's journey now, someone who has used their pain to empower. Somebody who, I've just met her a few minutes ago, but certainly she definitely comes across as somebody who takes no prisoners. Her name is Maureen Olusola. Have I done that right? Almost. You know, I'm not even going to say people's names now. I'm just going to say, you're next, come. Maureen, if you'd like to make your way up, Maureen will be speaking to us because she's the mother of, no, she's not. She's going to do it herself. Okay. Maureen's going to be speaking to us for about 20 to 25 minutes. And over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to represent a charity called MOSAC, and those of you who were here last year, you would have, I was here last year. Now, MOSAC stands for Mothers of Sexually Abused Children. So it was set up 21 years ago as a support group by 4 mothers who had children who were sexually abused. And because they didn't have any support, there was support for the children, but no support for the mothers who were not abusers. So they set this group up 21 years ago. It's now a charity, and I am here to represent them today, okay? What Yvonne has asked me to do is to really talk to you about sexual abuse and how we can kind of notice the signs, also how we can protect our children. All right, so that's what I was asked to talk about, which is what I will do. Now, I just want to also say that on the back, on the table at the back, there are a number of handouts and pamphlets, which will tell you about things like the signs and symptoms, which will tell you what grooming is all about. Has anybody heard of the word grooming? Just show of hands so I don't repeat myself because I've got a lot of time. Okay, so most people know what grooming is, so you've heard about it. But there's some leaflets out at the back. And also things like, I want to show you this leaflet because I think it's an interesting one. You see that? If you get a chance, Have a look at it. It's a man with a face. This side says the real face. This side says the false face. But on your leaflet, it will say the real face on both of them. It was a mistake in the printing. But what you see, I'm not going to go into it now for a long time, but basically it gives you an idea of what the front is of the groomer, of the perpetrator. So, for example, his false face will say things, I like to spend time with you. I listen. I keep your secrets. I can protect you. I'm here for you. Those are some of the things that his false face says. His real face will tell you, will say, I make you feel guilty, shameful, and just scared. I want to control you. I assault you. I want you to depend on me totally. These are some of the things that is really what he's doing as he's grooming, okay? So there are some leaflets here, just wanted to mention that. Okay, sexual abuse. I want some interaction here, because it's quite a heavy subject, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's not something that, you can speak to glibly, because it's very intimate. It's talking about sex, and it's talking about the abuse of sexual contact. All right. So I want you to answer. I'm going to because I want you to interact with me a bit. Those who know me know I'm very interactive. I don't like to lecture. I like to hear what people have to say. So I'm going to throw some statements out, and I want you to tell me if it's a myth or if it's a fact. Yeah? So here we go. Children make up stories or lie about sexual abuse. Is that a myth or is it a fact? Put your hand up if it's a myth. Okay? Put your hand up if it's a fact. Okay. Right. Well, let me now tell you, the facts are, while children do make up stories, they seldom lie about sexual abuse. Note seldom. Sometimes it's complicated and they can lie, but it is very rare. If I was to put a percentage on it, about 98%, they don't lie. Okay? Moreover, children who have not been abused do not know usually the explicit language that a child can talk about and intimate sexual behavior. They wouldn't know that because it's not age appropriate. Okay? So the truth about that question is that it is a myth that children make up stories or lie about sexual abuse. All right? Second question. Abuse is most often committed by strangers. Hands up if you believe that's true. Great! Well-organized, well-knowledgeable group. You're right. Most abuse is committed by someone the victim knows and trusts. Okay. Next statement. Offenders look sleazy, cruel, or unusual. True or false? False. False. I heard no, come on, let's talk to me. I heard a few falses. I never heard any truths. Anybody for a true? Put your hand up. Sometimes they do. Look sleazy, cruel, or unusual. Sometimes, okay. But on the whole, come on, speak to me. Come on, I've only got 20 minutes. She's going to run me off. Average. Okay. On the whole, it is false. Right? They look like genuinely your neighbor, your husband, your brother, your uncle, your brother-in-law, your nephew. That's what they look like, because they are who they are. Sorry? And women. Let's not forget the women. That is true. Okay. Acts like, next question, acts like fondling, French kissing, or touching, or not, for example, are not really sexually abusive and don't really harm the young person. In fact, such acts may be helpful and educational. Who agrees with that? Put your hand up if you agree. So everybody will say no here. Can you put your hand up? Because I want to know the don't knows. Anybody who doesn't know. So everybody agrees with what? That it is abusive? Please talk to me. Put your hand up. That's quicker. Okay, because I want you to be educated today, and I won't know what you know unless you... And this is not for shame. This is not about anybody judging anybody at all. What we're here to do today is to educate and enlighten. And there's no shame if you don't know something to just say, because we're not going to beat you up. No, we're not going to do that, okay? All right, the answer to that is any form of direct or indirect sexual contact with a young person by an adult and an older child, and we need to be talking about this now because we are dealing more and more with children on children sexual molestations and rapes. In Mossack, I hear regularly of children on children. I talk to parents whose children have been abused by other children. So every individual has a unique reaction to sexual abuse, regardless of the type, extent, or the duration. Okay? So touching, fondling, any of that, it's not on. All right. If a male child or youth has an erection, or if a female child or youth doesn't complain or display any signs of distress during sexual abuse, then what is occurring is not abuse. How many people agree with that statement? Put your hands up if you agree. Okay. Hands up if you don't agree. Okay. Hands up if you're not sure. Okay. Let me answer that. Physical reactions, right? Because we're talking about touching private parts which are supposed to respond naturally to touch. Yeah? So if we're talking about a penis or if we're talking about a vagina, I'm sorry, I'm very plain. I don't know what language you use to talk about your private parts, but me, I go for the original. So nobody is unsure of what I'm talking about. Yeah? Any touch of the penis or the vagina will usually, whether it's a legal touch or an illegal touch, will bring about a response, because that's how the body is made. So just because that penis or vagina is responding, or breasts, become erect if there are breasts, does not mean that because the person is responding to the touch, that person or that child, this is even in rape, but I don't want to get off the subject, that does not mean that person is complicit or is enjoying that touch. Okay? So that statement was false. All right? Next statement. The child or youth is at fault for encouraging or allowing the sexual abuse to happen. True or false? False. Anybody not sure? Okay, great. children and youth are sexually abused because their mothers are not sexually available to their husbands or partners. True or false? Anybody agree with that statement? Okay. Anybody doesn't know? Well, the answer is sometimes that may be the excuse given, as Jennifer says, but it is quite often perpetrators are still having sex with their partners whilst they are abusing children or anybody else. So it is not a done deal because mum or partner is not having sex with them. That is why they are having sex with children. All right? So, and we're talking here about the blaming game. Because when people are being abusive, what happens? The perpetrator wants to blame. It's never their fault. It's always, they shift the blame onto the child or onto the non-abusing parent or whoever. Okay? So, last couple. My son will grow up to be a paedophile, child sexual molester, if he or it was sexually abused when they were young. Who believes that statement? Hands up if it's a yes. You believe that? Some. Okay. Sometimes. All right. The answer to that is it doesn't follow that people will have to. It doesn't follow. It depends on the circumstance. And it also depends on the environment, number of circumstances. So it's not a done deal. If your child was sexually abused, they turn out to be paedophiles. Okay? Incest or sexual abuse is a problem of the family only. Who agrees with that statement? No? Nobody? Any answers? Yeah? I've got to be fast. I've got to go. She's going to give me the hand very soon. Okay. 50% of runaway girls and boys and 70% of adolescents, drug addicts, and 60% of young prostitutes were the victims of sexual abuse. The social price paid is beginning to surface. All right? So it doesn't just affect the family. All right. Last question. Statement for you. It is better not to talk about incest, sexual abuse, because the child will forget. Who thinks that is a truth or myth? Put your hands up if you think that's true. It's better not to talk about it because the child will forget. So nobody believes that. Or how many people don't know? Often, yeah. Okay. Right. So they haven't forgotten it then? Okay, but that's not the question. It's better not to talk about it so the child will forget it. And, okay, all right. Right, okay. So I'm asking the question, not to talk about it so the child will forget it or deal with it. All right. All right, we're going to get into, I think there's going to be question time afterwards. Okay. Did you hear, people? Okay. All right. Adults do not talk about abuse because of their own discomfort with the topic. If you are not willing to talk about the situation, the person will probably feel that you think it's something to be ashamed of or dirty and just too awful to talk about. This attitude will only serve to increase the guilt, shame, and feelings of abnormality. So it is suggested by professionals and those who work in this area that it's always good to talk about it at the child's pace, really, rather than at your pace, but at the child's pace. Okay, right, so signs and indicators of sexual abuse. I have on the back, this is a yellow sheet, but it's in white on the back table. There are, it's a leaflet about what to look for under 5s, 5 to 12-year-olds, and 12 plus, if you're interested. Now, and it's been color-coded to make it easier for you to kind of, see at what kind of level your child or your child in your family, what the indications are. And I'm not going to go through everything. What I will look at is under 5s, just quickly, that usually when it is really, really, let's start at the bottom, blue signals, which means it's not, it's the beginnings of, I would say. You'll see that the child will developmentally, because they go through from 0 to 5, obviously they're very milestones, and those of you who've had children in Britain, you'll know about the little red book, yes? It used to be back in my day, when I had my children, but there's a book that will show you the developmental stages of your child from 0. So when you're pregnant, you go and they give you this, and it says what your child should be at this stage, yeah? What you'll find is that with children who are being groomed or being abused, their development will not be at the same level as somebody of their age. They may be aggressive, and their behavior may be out of sorts, right? And they may be complaining of different, I've got stomachache, my tummy hurts, my bottom hurts. Those are the usual complaints. That doesn't mean any child under 5 who says, my bottom hurts or my tummy hurts, it has to be about sexual abuse. It might be they're constipated, So you would have to know what your circumstance is and, and how that will, how that is in relation to what we're talking about. All right. We've registered green as the child will be fearful of specific persons. So, for example, they may be fearful of and not want to be left with the perpetrator. When you're going to leave them, they're, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to be there. They may have nightmares. Chronic urinary or vaginal infections, soreness of genitals, bottoms, situational specific fears, afraid that, for example, that person is coming to get them, is coming to do them harm. Fears of being bathed or changed, fears of being put to bed, okay? Then, really, this is red, signs. Number 1, they may say, Daddy put his finger in my bottom, or in my, whatever the word is for vagina, or Daddy, whatever. There may be genital injuries. There may be what do we call them, sexually transmitted diseases the child may have. They will be able to tell you about sexual activities that they should not know about, right? They may be consistently and compulsively masturbating, right? For example, I had a call from somebody who said a 2.5-year-old daughter was constantly humping anything that she could. So she'd be lying down and rubbing herself just on it, even on the ground, everywhere. Sexual drawings, sexualized play, acting out, explicit sexual acts. Okay, so that is when we're on the red lights, okay? Those are signs for under 5s. I'm not going to go into any more, but I am saying that those of you who have small children, or you know small children, and you know why you're here today, these are some of the signs to look for as indicators of child sexual abuse. Okay. Now, it's not in the yellow form. It's you can have a look at the back. Okay. Now, how do we protect our children? All right. The NSPCC have actually created something called the underwear rule, or the underpants rule. Has anybody heard of it? No. Okay. This is really to teach young children, really, under the age of 11, how to protect themselves. And basically what they're saying is, nobody has any right to touch you under your underpants, right? Under your knickers, but they call it the underpants rule, right? So knickers, underpants, no touching underneath that, all right? So, and they are suggesting that that is a way of how we begin to talk to our children, yeah? So that in making a safety plan for them. So if anybody wants to put their hands under your underpants, that's a no-no. That is a sign there's something not right. And it doesn't matter who that is. All right? They say privates are private. Be clear with your child. Okay, I'm getting a sign. Can I have 1 more minute, please, to just finish this? Be clear with your child that privates are private. Explain to your child that no one should see or touch their private parts or ask to look for them. No, it's not for anybody else, just for you. Always remember your body belongs to you. And so that and no means no. And as you begin to say this to your children, what will happen is that they begin to talk to you about this. And you will hear. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do, because I'm getting the eyes over here, she's moved to this side, is to say that the NSPCC have put out a video on YouTube called The Underpants Rule. Anybody who is interested in looking at how do I teach my children to be safe, you can go along and have a look at that. And it's called The Underpants Rule. I have a number of other things to say, but I don't have any time to say it. Can you look at the back, I'm coming. This table over here? Yeah, at the back on this table over here. This is a leaflet about children and the law. Those of you who may be in difficulties with the law and your child being involved in the law or with social services, there is 3 different types of kind of information at the back on the back table. One is about contact residence and parental responsibility. The other one is when social services are involved. And then the last one, and I'm coming down now, the criminal justice system and child sex offences. They're very comprehensive. They will tell you what the law says about this, and they will answer questions. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Excellent and very informative. Some of the things that I just wanted to say from what I've taken from that, and it was something that we said last year, and we're going to repeat it, because I noticed when we were talking about things like